Okay, hi there. Now, this tutorial will be the building the sunflower element. Now, it's quite a complicated element in regards to how many parts there are that go to building this thing, but if you've been to our website, you've probably seen there's a few versions of this element. There's the standard plain version, core fluid vase with illumination with modules from the back. There's the same version with LEDs coming through the face. The pixels coming through the face. There's an aluminium version, which is the aluminium composite material, which is quite a nice finish, which has got the insert inside it, which has the pixels coming through the face and illumination of the centre with modules. Now, for this tutorial, what we're going to be doing is a similar version to that one, but from core fluid. So we've got the pixels coming through the face, we've got the centre cut out, which will be an insert, an acrylic insert illuminated by modules, and the standard face, sides and back and so forth. So we're going to go through that process. It'll probably be a video in a couple of parts. So we'll just start off with the first part, which will be the face and the insert. Now, when you get your face, you will get it folded over like most of the core fluid elements are, and you will need to seal those two joins up to keep the element as a section to work with. So we'll get our clear tape, which is standard for what we use in this situation. So we'll just stick a piece of tape on that join there, which we've got there. So you take your knife and trim them around. Now, I did neglect to mention that you'll probably find that when you get the element, most of the trimming will be done, but there may be some pieces on the edges there where you might need to trim off some bits. Depends how fussy you want to be. Now, you can use a bit of sandpaper to sand the edges. Just gives it a bit of you can clean them off that way. You'll find most of them will be cleaned off, but you can file those bits off. It depends how fussy you want to be, or you can use a knife to trim them off, whatever you feel is more comfortable, whatever you feel is easier for you. So now I'll do that other dot on that one, so we'll do this one here too, the tape. Now, of course, you are going over the pixel exit hole, so you'll have to, as with the case with the other ones, you'll have to trim around those to clean those holes up so you can push the pixels through. So I'll do that later, but if you've seen our other videos, you've probably seen that already. So we're just basically just trimming around the clear tape. Always on the back, always on the side with the blue dot. Always work on that side, because the other side is obviously the face, so we want to keep that clean and neat. So you'll need to trim those holes up after you've stuck it. So there you go, your element face is all measured as one piece, or stuck together as one piece. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fix this insert into the face of the face of the element. Now, obviously you will get all these pre-packaged, and you'll see that from our other videos. They're all marked and pre-packaged. This is the insert. This is a piece of Perspex. It's about 1.6mm Perspex with some white film on one side and a matte finish on the other side. Now, what is going to happen with this is going to be fitted in here like that. It's going to be stuck down. Now, we've already got some double-sided film here. When you get your face, you'll see that. Now, the double-sided tape is only there just to hold the just trim around there where you put the clear tape. So you see I've stuck over the tape there, so that's all right. You don't need all the tape. The double-sided tape is only there to hold it in position, and then you can run some glue around the outside edge to stick it in position. Now, make sure don't stick it the wrong way around. You've got an A on the insert and an A on the actual face. So you can see the black line there that identifies the area that this is going into. Now, when you stick this down, just roughly in that area, just make sure that this doesn't go over one of the exit points for the pixels, or else you'll have trouble pushing the pixel through. So what you're doing there is you're just basically sticking that down in position. So I'll just show you what that looks like when we flip it over. So you can see you've got your Perspex insert there, which will illuminate with the modules once we've completed the element. So we're going to run that over. We're just going to run a little bit of glue around here to hold it in position. You can run it all the way around. I won't do that in this case, but so that's going to hold him in position. Now, that's pretty straightforward. So you can see there that the insert is in position and ready to go. So that stays there like that. Now, the next step to do is obviously the F-sides. And as with all our kits, these are all pre-slit, ready for applying to the section that they're going onto. There will be 12 of these. Again, they'll be packed up in individual bags. You'll get them packed up in such a way and marked on the packets. Now, I don't know if you can see that. There's slits in this section. So there'll be 12 of these, one for each of the corners of the sun. Again, some people will do it that way. I don't like doing it that way. I prefer to have the sealed section on the outside. So what you do with this is you've got to manipulate it, and you can hear that crackling. What's happening is they're folding onto themselves as you crack them around. So once you can see you can get a nice round curve on that. It works quite well. So what we're going to do, and again I always start with the blue dot. So obviously that is going to go in that section there. Now, if you're really good, you can glue both sides of this and stick it on and manipulate it and so forth. If you have a problem with that and it's your first time, just do one side and go just on the straight part of the stick him down, and of course what you do is you line him up, making sure that the curve is to your satisfaction. Get him to the outside edge there. So just stick him down. Now, so I haven't glued the curve yet. So what you can then do is you can then do the second part of it and run the glue around the second edge there and folding your curve around, making sure you're happy with it. So have the curve to you so you can actually see what you're doing there. And again, I always apply a little bit of masking tape to the edges just to hold them down. Just to hold that down in position there, like that, which you're going to pull away afterwards. So I'll put a bit of masking tape there too, just to hold them down. So you can see what I've done there. I've got the nice radius on it. It gives you a nice smooth finish. Protects the element from the weather and getting dirty and grimy. Now, some of these you may have to trim off. You'll see that once you go back and do the next one. So I'll just do one more for you, and you can see there I need to trim some off that one because it's just slightly longer, which is fine because they trim off quite well. And if you've seen our other videos, you've probably seen what we do there. I tend to just trim off what I think I need to trim off there, and grab my next one. And again, you always check these before. See, what I'm doing is I'm just rolling it around a bit. You'll get the feel of it once you've got it there, how to manipulate it into position. Works quite well. So once you've got him in position, just flip him around either way. You might be able to see that one side fits better than the other side, but we'll trim a bit off that. So just work out where you want to put it. Again, like I said, this will take a little longer to make this, but you'll be you'll be satisfied with the finish if you put a bit of time into it. So I always only worry about that side, and I always trim the second side afterwards, after it's stuck on. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to stick this one on both sides. I'm going to apply glue to both sides of it all the way around the curve, and then right down the other side there. So then I'm going to stick him on like that, and I always keep the radius facing me so I can see, because that's the most important part. Obviously the straight isn't going to go anywhere. If you keep the radius facing you, you can see that you're not overlapping over the edge of the face. So as usual with our elements, you can put just something in the corner there to hold it together. Obviously we're going to get to the anchors later, so you can see what I've done there. So you can see I've trimmed that down to size, and again this one is probably a touch long, so I can trim that off, and so forth. So you can see what I'm doing there. I'll do one more for you just for the sake of it. So now these are all exactly the same, obviously, because this sun is a symmetrical shape. So okay, so you can see I'm going to need to trim a little bit off that one too. So just trim out that. Maybe a little bit more. So once you've done a few, you'll get the hang of it, you'll get the feel of it, and how much you can actually flex it. So what I do is, once I've got it down in position, I pick it up in my left hand, flip him over, glue it, so that when I flip it over back down that way, you won't get the wrong side, because you can see one side is longer than the other. So I'll just glue that for you, just to show you again one more time. Bring him back around there like that. Stick him down there in position. Okay, you do get a little bit of play with the hot glue, not a lot, but if you do make a mistake, obviously you'd want to pull it off straight away. I'm pretty sure that the kits have got a spare. All our kits have one spare in them, so down the side. Now, because these are short ones, the side, putting the tape down the side probably isn't critical. You can do it if you're jiggling it around or moving it, or you're part doing it and you're going to do it on half one day and then some on the next day, so you can do that. Okay, so you can see what I've done there. We've made the three there, 3 corners. That looks pretty good, and that's working quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish this. I'm going to stop the video, and I'll come back once all the F sides are on, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so we're back. Now I've assembled all the F sides. You can see that the unit's been built there. I'll just flip it over carefully there. So I've still got the tape holding down the sides. Insert is in. Just be careful with that, because it's still a bit flimsy, because it doesn't have any structure to it yet. It doesn't have any of the ribbing that's required. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put in the ribs, which are the parts that hold the F side down to the face. Again, these will be packed individually in a packet, and if you've seen our other videos, you know how these work. These basically are a little strip that fold over and get glued into the corners, and these will hold the F sides down to the F face. A pretty simple procedure. It doesn't really matter where you start with this. I'll just start here for the sake of it, because I'm here already. So we'll just run a bit of glue around there. So grab the rib, stick him in position, just hold him there for a few seconds while the glue goes off. And again, these only fold one way, so you can't fold them back the other way, obviously. So you won't get confused in regards to that. So we'll just do a couple here for you, just to show you what's going on. Now, I tend to don't tend to put the glue in the corners until I've put the anchors in, because then you've got the bottom held in by the F-ribs and then the top held in by the anchors, and then you can run your glue in there. That way you'll get a nice straight finish, because you can manipulate the positioning of them when you put the anchors on. So I'll just put a few in there like that, just to show you what I'm doing. I think you get the hang of it. Like I said, if you've seen our other videos, they're basically, all our elements are pretty much made the same way. Well, not the same way, but along the same principles of construction. So you can see what I'm doing there. I'll just go along and stick these in, seeing as I'm here. It won't take long. So there's one. So you can see what I'm doing there. I don't think it needs to go much further. What I'll do is I'll just stop that and finish it off, and you can and I'll start the video again after I've done all that. So I'll just finish that first. Okay, so I've got one more left to do here, one more little F-rib left to do. I'll just glue him in there like that. Get him into position, and you can see that it's pretty well fixed the face down. So again, like with all our kits, if you feel that you want to run a little bit of extra glue along the top and the bottom, you can. Just a thing that you'll need to assess once you get it, or once you get to that position. Now you can also run some glue in the radiuses of the sunflower there, just to give it a little bit of extra strength. It certainly doesn't hurt, because there won't be anything going around that radius to hold it in position. In fact, we'd probably recommend that you do that. So just run some glue in there. Okay. So you can see there that that's pretty well, and you can feel now that it's starting to get a little bit more solid. Obviously it's not joined here because we haven't glued there yet. We're going to do that when we do the anchors. But if I flip that over for you, you can see that's pretty much taken shape. Great looking little sun, this one. So what we're going to do next, we're going to put that to one side, and the next part that we're going to be doing, we'll just put that out to one side over here, is we're going to be doing the back, which is obviously the part that goes onto the back of the element. Now there's two parts to this. There's the actual back itself, which again you'll get folded in one, folded over, which you'll have to tape. We'll do that in a minute. And there's the centerpiece, which we call the rose, which is the part that will light up the center of the element itself. So that's an independent section from the pixels on the face. So what we're going to do first off, you'll get your back, and as usual with all our kits, the blue dot faces you, blue dot there. I'll show you what that little hand means in a minute, and what this green line means. So again, it'll only go one way. So down on the ground, a flat surface, run some tape, clear tape, the usual clear tape along the join. Knife trims everything off. So get that tape off. Trim this guy off here. Alright, so there's your back. Again, you can put more tape if you like, it's probably not necessary. So there's your back, which goes on the back of the element. Blue dot we always treat as being the top. Now, the next section that we're going to be building is the actual centre part, which is the rose. So you're going to get something in the kit like this. Well, not something like this. You're going to get this. This is the actual back of the rose. Now, what we're going to do with this section, you can probably see that that's where that section is going to go in there, but that's not going to go in there yet. What we're going to do, now I'll put this to one side, flip that around. This is the back section of the rose, which houses the modules, and you can see that's where we're recommending that you fit them. You can put the modules wherever you like. You don't even have to put the modules in if you don't want. So what you're going to get is you're going to take the actual rose back, the R back, and we're going to take the R side. Now this will be folded over in however it's folded or packaged, usually in one piece. Now this is going to be the edge of this back, which will then fit onto here, which will then fit upside down into the element. And you can see what we're doing there. We're trying to isolate this section so we can light these independently from the pixels that go around the edge. So get your R back face side up, and you'll see that there is a letter C there. Can you see that there? Okay. Now there's also a letter C on here corresponding to this C, and what that does is that's where we're going to start. So we're going to line up the C on the back with the C on the side. So in this case, what we do is we don't glue this down. Well, we don't glue this down as we would the sides on the element. What we're going to do in this case is we're going to put some tape on the edge. We're going to line up the C with the C and stick that down on the edge, and then we're going to probably two pieces would be easier. So you're going to start him with the C with the C, and start folding it around, and then you're going to take this around as you go, like that. Now this part isn't seen, so it's not that critical how clean and neat the edges are. I mean, you can go over the edges on this one because it's not that important. So you can just tape that down roughly however you want. So you can see what I'm doing there. I'm just taping as I'm going around, and I'm trying to make a little box, like a little case. So I'll tape it down first just to show you what I'm doing, and then that's the piece that's going to go around there. So we're just going to get that into there, take that down. So probably haven't quite stuck it down well enough to get it into position, but you can see what I'm doing there. So I put some tape along there like that, hold that in position. So, and then you can just manipulate it however you want it to make it fit. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, like I said, because this part isn't seen. All it's doing is just blocking out the light of the modules to get, so it doesn't go out into the element and go through the holes of the face. So once you've got all the sides down and you're happy with it, if you have to, you can cut them and spread them out. Whatever you can do whatever you like with this because it's not seen. Now, what we'll do in this case is we will get the R ribs. Now these, the R ribs. These are exactly the same as the ribs that go in the face, but they'll just be stuck in the corners here like that, just to give it that little bit of strength. Now, you can glue this thing down if you want, individually, like you do the R sides, but we'd find that there's no reason to do that because it's only just a casing for the module. So one V, stick the rib in the opposite way as you would in the face. So again, another one around here like that. Whack him in there like that. So you can see what we're doing there. We're just trying to make a little box for the modules. And again, some of these you may have to just snap open a bit. So you can see what I've done there. So that's good. And it doesn't matter if you go over the actual letters and things. They're only just there as a starting point. So you can see we've made there just a little case for the modules. So we can run a little bit more glue around there. Okay, alright, that's good. So you can see you've made your little box there. Now, you can peel the tape off if you like. It's not important because it's not seen, so it doesn't really matter. So what this does is, this is where your... This is obviously where the modules are going to go. They're going to go in here. Like that, if you can see that. You're going to fit the modules in there. Now you can fit the modules wherever you like. Like I said, it's not that critical. You can even put strip lighting in there if you want. So once this is made, and like I said, you can actually peel the tape off if you want. I tend to leave it on there, it's not important. We get this back. Now this is where that the little hand comes in. So you can see there's a little hand here and a little hand there, and that's how that's going to fit in there, and it's going to fit in between the green lines. You can see that that's where the thing actually goes. So that's what the little hand does. I mean, it is symmetrical, or roughly symmetrical anyway, so it won't really matter if you get it wrong, because it doesn't get in the way of anything, because what it's going to do is it's actually going to fit on top of, so you can see what we're doing there, it's going to fit on top of the Perspex insert that we've got, so then that will light up the insert independently of the lights. It just gives you a second type of effect, and because it's got a side on it, the light doesn't spill out. So we'll just go ahead and glue that on. You can put double-sided tape on if you like to give it extra strength. We don't tend to do that. We just put a couple of blobs of glue roughly in position there, like that. Just get the little hand lined up, roughly put it in position. Doesn't have to be perfect. Stick him down. And again, with all these things, you can just run a little bit of extra glue if you like along the edges there, just to hold it in position. Okay, so that's pretty good. So there's your back made with the rose in the centre, ready for the pixels to be fitted, which we'll do one step further down. So I will stop the video now, and when we come back we'll go and fit the anchors onto the element. Okay, so we've finished our back. Rose back is fitted to the back, and obviously you can see what's going to happen there. It's going to fit onto the back of the element, and that section there will independently illuminate this section here that we call the ceiling, or not ceiling, or the rose, not the ceiling. So the next step after we've done that is that we're going to be putting the anchors into the element to hold the back on and in position. So if you've seen some of our other kits, you probably know how these work. They're basically a strip, red lines on one side, green lines on the other side. So we start off with the red lines. Just move this out the way for you here. Start off with the red lines. So glue between the red lines. Fold him over. Oop, made a mistake here. Trim him off a little bit. So make an adjustment to that. It's obviously been a mistake on our part. So these fit the same way. Okay, so I need to trim these off. All right, I can fix that up later. So let's just run the glue in there like that. Glue down. There's two. So you'll need, you'll obviously need 12 of these, because there's the 12 V's. You can see each V will have an anchor in it. So what I'll do is I'll do these three just to show you. in case this is the only element that you've ever seen. Again, where you start doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to, for out of convenience sake, you can start where the blue dot is, but for the sake of this, I'll just do this for you. So always remember to peel the tape away. Wouldn't be the first time I'd forgotten to do that. So obviously you can see here it only folds one way, and we're going to be slipping it into position right there. So you can see what I'm doing there. So we're going to run some glue in between the green lines. We're going to be fitting him in position there, and the important thing is to make sure that it sits flush here. So I'll just do 3 for you just for the sake of it, and then I'll show you when I'm finished what it looks like. But you can see I'm trying to get that sitting flush there so that when the back sits on, it sits on nice and neatly and gets a nice neat finish. So I might pay you just to go along and peel all the tape off first, but you can do it one at a time if you think you'll remember to do that. So run a bit more glue here. It goes like that, keeping it nice and flush. Now you can see that, like I said previously, if you've run some glue into the corner there, that'll just give it a little bit of extra strength, because there's nothing that holds that together there. So I might pay you to do that. So I'll just put one more on here, so you can see when those aren't on, that the corners are actually quite flimsy. So again, we run in between the green lines. And stick him down like that. And you can see once that's there, those sides aren't going anywhere because this is holding it together. It certainly won't. So you can see what I'm doing there, one on each one. So you assemble the anchor first, fold over and glue, and then you stick it in position. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll stick all these on around the remaining sides, and then I'll come back and we'll do the next step. Okay, so we've put all our anchors on. You can see that the anchors have been assembled there, and the unit is actually quite solid now. So what we're going to do is I've peeled off most of the masking tape. We can peel that off now. That's not required there anymore. So we can just take that off, and the unit will hold itself together quite well now. So what we're going to do, the next step, is that we're going to fit the back with the rose in it to the actual sides. Now I'll match the blue dot with the blue dot. I've actually pre-marked for convenience where I'm going to drill these holes. Now you can put, like I said, more screws if you want to into these units. We supply the screws will come in the packets, so I will proceed with one. Again, you'll take your 3mm drill with the your battery drill with the 3mm drill bit, come in about 7mm, and you're drilling into those anchors. You're going to put the screw in as you would. Use a hand screwdriver. Don't use a battery drill. Just to over tighten them, you can strip them. So do one and then do one in the opposite once you're happy with the position of it. So in the opposite direction. That way you know that it'll line up. So we'll put another screw in there, and so forth. And you can see what I'm doing here, just tightening that up. Now you can put as many screws as you want into this. You could even put one in each of the spikes of the star. That's up to you. I think we supply 8 or 12 screws. I can't remember what it is, but nevertheless, that's basically the unit pretty well made. Nice and solid, clean, neat, and again, when you're fitting these, you can actually, I don't know if you can see that, you can actually flex that around. So you know, if you want to just line that up slightly, you can bring it around because there's obviously a little bit of flex in the unit itself. I won't go and drill all those. No need to see. You can see what's happening there. So once you've done that and you've fitted all your screws and you're happy with the unit being fitted, you will take the unit or the back off. And for the sake of knowing how the thing goes back on when you fit this back to the sides, I tend to make sure that I line up the blue dot with the blue dot there. So the blue dot and the blue dot. So then when you go to put it back on, you know that your holes will line up in the right spot and you're not forever looking for the different size holes. Now, if for whatever reason you put it in the wrong spot, you know, you can re-drill it, so that's not a great drama. So that's pretty much it for fitting the unit. So once you've done that, you can take the unit back off and we can proceed to fit the what we're going to fit is the pixels through the face and the modules. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward how, I mean, it's obvious how these actually go in position. How you wire them and configure them is up to you, but generally speaking, 12mm pixel push through the face. Now they are firm, so once you push them through, again, like all our other elements, these are 10mm holes for the 12mm pixel. Now you'll find that they're not that hard to push through, but you will need a little bit of force to get them through. So as you're pushing through, you'll see that just be careful when you're pushing that you don't push too hard and break the seal on this insert. I'll just do a few here just to show you what I'm doing. So I'm going along and I'm going up and down sort of thing. You may have to pre-work out how you're going to wire these before you start pushing pixels in, but so what we're doing here is we'll just put a few in through here so that you can see what I've done. Now you will have to once you I'll just do that for the sake of it, just to show you, so you can see there what I'm doing here is I'm straightening up the pixels as I'm going. So push that one through there too a bit more. Push through there. Now once you've got these in, I recommend, again, like I said in other videos, that you put a bit of hot glue either side of these pixels. It just holds them in a little bit firmer. I mean, it's not necessary, but it will hold them in position a little bit easier, than they will stay in a little bit easier and not move around. I mean, obviously the unit doesn't tend to move around, but so you can see what I've done there. I've got them in position there, and I'm straightening them up as I go. I would do that obviously before I glued it. So once that's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's pretty obvious how these are going to go in. So they're going to fit quite nicely. So when you put your back on, I'll tuck the cables down underneath there, and that'll all take care of itself. Now, when you're putting these ones on the edge here, make sure that these cables are tucked back behind the actual insert, so that when you go to put your insert on, it doesn't actually get in the way of the rows. So, and you'll work that out. I mean, you can actually, I don't know, you can cable tie them back or whatever you want to do, cable tie them back to each other or whatever. Now, so that's how you're going to fit the pixels. Obviously, the modules will also go in there. Now, again, we've only just suggested where you fit the modules. That's up to you as to how and where you want to put them. Again, you may want to put less or more. So the starting position for these aren't that critical. So it's just a matter of getting them started. I tend to go around in a circle first, sort of thing. So how you want to fit them is up to you. So you can see what I'm doing here. The position of these isn't that critical, because this is only just a glowing effect. So going along, I'll just put these in for you so you can see what I'm doing. Now, Now we haven't, because we're not supplying the pixels for these or the modules. Obviously, we don't determine how you're going to configure these. How you're going to, if you're going to use the modules as a separate channel, or if you're going to bank them up with the pixels through the face. That's of course up to you how you want to wire that. So see what I'm doing there. I'm actually getting them into a configuration. It's it's a bit trial and error with this stuff. I mean, obviously that you're going to work out your own method depending on your display. So once you've got these down, I'll just do these last two so that I can show you what we've done here. Alright, so we've got the modules through the rows fitted there, and we've got, well, we will have the pixels through the face. So obviously you've got to get these either connected some way to the pixels, or independently you'll run the exit cable from the pixels out through the back, because we haven't supplied any exit holes. Like we don't supply any exit holes for our elements, because we don't know how you're going to wire them. So there will be a cable coming through here. You'll either have two cables coming through, because you'll run this you'll run the modules off one channel and the pixels off another, or you'll connect the pixels to the modules, and then the cable will come through the back and you'll wire it however you like. Now that's pretty much it insofar as how these fit in. I mean, those don't need any extra glue, but I would definitely again recommend that you put some glue around these pixels just to give them a bit more security. So once you've done that and you've fitted your pixels and modules, then what we're going to do, the last item we're going to do, and you may have seen this on other videos that we got, is we supply these fixing brackets. Now the fixing brackets are an option that you don't have to necessarily use these. You can disregard these and fit this unit directly, hang it off something, or I don't know, however you want to do it. I mean, if you want to run some cable ties and tie it to something, you can do that too. But what these do, if you haven't seen on our other videos, is that they actually get fixed in there like that. And then what that does is, because that's a raised section, it'll actually, I'll just use this as a guide to show you. See, assuming that this will be the back of the wall, what that does is it gives you a gap all the way around. So it's giving you a gap all the way around once it's fixed to the wall, so that the water will actually run past the unit and it won't get trapped inside. Pretty straightforward. I'll just do one for you just to show you how these work. Now, in regards to the positioning, you can put them wherever you like, but I'll just put these are just suggested positions, so that you can put them wherever you like, and you can even put more. Now, sorry, I've got that the wrong way around. Make sure the green dot is to the inside, because this hole here is what you will fix to when you have these fitted in position. So we'll mark those. We'll mark the holes. You can see there's two holes there, which you'll use as a fixing point. Just clean those out a bit if you like. We're going to drill through here like that. Okay, so I'll just grab a couple of screws for that, or the nuts. So you'll get some fixings. Now you'll push that through there if you want. You can actually screw that through the bracket first, which is easier for you if you feel you want to do that. If you want to, you can drill those holes out a little bigger so they just push straight through. But if you don't, you can just leave them as it is. So we'll put those through there, and that will be what holds the bracket onto the core flute. So Okay. So you can see you've got a fixing hole and you've got the 2 screws coming through. So you'll push those through the actual holes that you've drilled through the core flute, and there'll be 2 little nuts which you'll get. So they're obviously the nuts that hold the screws on. So you can see there, I'll put those nuts on there. So I'll put one on there, and then we'll put the second one on. It's fiddly, but you only really need to do it once. Once you've fitted them on, this probably, well, definitely won't have to come off. Just screw that on there. So just hold the nut from the back there to tighten it on. Again, like I said, these are only an option that we supply. You don't necessarily have to use these. You can make whatever fixing you want for these. So it's just a handy option to have there. So I'll just flip this over and show you what happens when we okay, so you don't have to over tighten these because they're not going to go anywhere really. So what you're going to do then is, you can see what's happening. Just get it away for you. Once that's mounted to the wall, so you would use this. You would assemble the unit together. So you have the whole thing screw fixed in, and it would be a complete unit with the cable coming out. And then what you would do is you would use this to mark it, and you can see there that there'll be a bracket there. So you will have 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd mark it on the wall wherever it is that you're going to fix it. You'd drill use a masonry bit and drill through the brick or the concrete or whatever you're fixing to. Put a plug in, and then you've got that which you can actually use a screw to screw in with to hold the actual element in position. So you can see there's a gap between the wall, the surface that you're fixing to, and the unit, and that's pretty much disguised, hardly seen. You can actually paint that out black if you don't want to see the silver, but that's pretty much it. So you can fix your unit to the wall. The cables can come out the bottom or the side or the top because there's a gap there. So your cables can come out the back. So there's a little bit of a gap there, so you can draw the cables out and run them up to wherever it is that you're sending the cables to. And then once you finish your display, you unscrew the screws, take the unit off. The plugs are still in the wall for next year's display, or alternatively you can move it to another position next year's display. So it's quite a simple task to do. So you'd put the 4 on there, or alternatively, like I said, you can make some other sort of fixing method that suits you. Those are supplied. So that fixing bracket, the nuts and the screws are supplied. So that's pretty much it. That's the unit made. Pretty well the same as all our other units insofar as the basic principles, and that should be quite an effective little unit. You can check our website to see some samples of it lighting up, and I hope you enjoy making that.